Welcome to ToolkitCMA.com. This is just going to be a brief example of how to get in, use it, download from MLS, and save your presentation. To sign up for ToolkitCMA, email Sherry at business@richmondhomes.net. ToolkitCMA is $8 a month for RE/MAX Action agents. First, log in. Your username is typically going to be your email address, and your password will be whatever you've assigned your password to be. So just sign in. This is the administrative panel over here. You won't see this, but you will see the sign in ToolkitCMA.com as a user. If you have not run it in a couple days, you may have to hit the continue button here to just run a quick update to Toolkit. They're always updating the program to keep current with the various MLSs and Windows and all the other changes in internet. Alright, now you're ready to go. So you have several options here. You can create a listing presentation, for sale by owner listing presentation, expire listing presentation, a buyer's presentation, a buyer representative presentation, and a buyer tour presentation. You can also create a listing slideshow that works pretty much like a PowerPoint display, and you can create a flyer. We're going to focus today on just creating a brief listing presentation. So over here also just all your setup where you can change your email, personalize your resume and your references, change your password. So we're going to hit begin. You want to check all of the things that you want to have in your presentation. So this is going to make a nicely personalized presentation with RE/MAX information and then anything that you choose here regarding the subject property. I've already pre-selected the fields that I want to have in here, and I've clicked make default, so every time that I check back in, they're always there. So I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to put the property information in this box right here. So this is going to be information about what I'm getting ready to list. So the owner's name, Bob and Sue Smith, their address, 8386. Make sure you know your zip code and addresses when you start to do this, by the way. And we're going to hit next. This is a letter that you can edit, and once you edit, you can save it as your default, or you can edit each time and not save it as your default. But this will be at the beginning of your presentation. And hit next again. Now we're at the MLS interface button. You want to make sure that it shows up Richmond market links. It may show other MLSs if you're members of others, but in this case, it should only show Richmond market links. We're going to import property data. So our tempo pop-up will be there. You'll have to put in your user ID and your password. We're going to run a quick single-family search, and this is going to be the basis for our CMA. So we're not going to teach you how to do this, an actual CMA today, but we'll show you. So we're going to active, pending, and sold. I always like to do active, pending, and sold in my presentations. And in this case, it's going to be, I'm going to designate the area by price, 165 to 225. I want minimum 4 bedrooms, minimum 2 baths, and I want a minimum of 2 levels. I don't want any ranches, because mine is a 2-story colonial. I want homes that are just going to be in the Atlee, D. Davis, and Hanover High School districts. And I want anything that's sold in the last 6 months. And I definitely want a garage in this search. You really don't want to have more than 25 homes show up in your search. There's 43. It's a little bit too much for me. So I'm also going to go in here and make the year built minimum 1995. and hopefully that'll put me to 14. That's 1992. I'd like to have about 25 comps in here if at all possible. There's 20. That's perfect. Normally I would go in and I would select the comps that I want to have to make sure everything's looking perfect, but in this case, for the educational point and just to issue a time, I'm going to select all of my properties that are in there. I'm going to go to the details page. The next step to import this into ToolkitCMA is to hit your print button while you're at the details page. And down here, you want to make sure it's all your selected properties. Down here, you want to save it as PDF. Under file name, name it TK1, that's Toolkit 1, and click OK. I want you to follow these steps exactly, because this is how it downloads into Toolkit from Tempo. It's going to take a little while to generate this. But as you're doing your CMA in here, just remember this has the ability to suggest a price range. Now you can alter that price range when you get to that part in ToolkitCMA. But it's a nice presentation because not only does it have information about you, about the company, about RE/MAX in general, it has very nice graphically pleasing information about the homes and the comparables, and it does draw a conclusion. So, all right, now we're going to save this. And we're going to hit save again. This is saving it to a temporary file on your computer. Do not change where it saves it, okay? Just hit save. You might want to check the little dialog box that says close this dialog box when download's complete. So that box will go away here in a second. It's gone. Now I want to make sure that Tempo is not open in my computer in any window, okay? So I'm going to close Tempo out. I'm not logging out in this case. In this case, I'm going to hit the red X and X out. Now you're going to see a pop-up menu here. And this is downloading the comparables and pictures into your ToolkitCMA presentation. Now once they've all loaded in there, you'll see them appear here. Everything has a picture, active, pending, and sold. You don't want any more than 25 for your presentation, so I'm going to mark all in this case, and I'm going to hit next, and I've got them send my price ascending. You can choose which fields to show up in your CMA. I've already chosen the ones that I want over here. You can use the right arrow to move them over, the left arrow to move them back, and I've saved that as my default. And I'm going to hit next. And there's a suggested price range that Toolkit came out with. It's interesting to note that on this particular property, we did price it at $199, and it did sell for $199 with 5,000 closings. So it was pretty much right on the ball. And we want to save the presentation. Save it again here. It's going to be available for 30 days now. So you can come back and view this at any time. Now you're going to have the option to print this out, to email this to a client, or just to save it. If you do email it to your client, whenever they open it, you'll get an email notification that that's happened. That's a great thing to do prior to getting there on that listing appointment. And maybe you just want to, in the beginning, email them the CMA, and then not all the other parts of the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create this as a Adobe PDF file and save it to my desktop. But this is where you could print preview it. You can email it to your client, or you can print it out. You do want to check this button, prompt for printer setup. What that's going to do is give you the opportunity to get to your control panels for your printer, so you can change from maybe black and white to full color if you wanted to have this presentation in color. So we're going to click OK, and we are going to, because we are saving this to our desktop, we're going to designate where it's going to go. Now I'm just going to save it right on my desktop, and I'm going to call it Sample ToolkitCMA and save. Now this is going to convert it to a PDF. It's going to take a few seconds, but once it's converted to the PDF file, then we're going to be able to go in and save it, print it out. And it's still generating down here, so it takes a little while. It's a big file. Again, as I mentioned before, if you want to sign up for ToolkitCMA and you're a RE/MAX Action agent, it is only $8 a month, and you can do it for a while, and if you don't use it, you can notify us and we can terminate it. Alright, now let's open that presentation up. We're working on two monitors here, so let me move it over to the monitor that you can see. But this is our presentation. I'm going to put it in Fit Page. It has your picture in it. If you've loaded your picture in there, your contact information, your letter, information about RE/MAX, the history of RE/MAX, why use a realtor, quality service, competitive advantage, premier market presence. Talks about pricing your home. There's your CMA analysis summary. You're on the market, under contract, and sold. There's your properties nicely mapped out. And there are 3 up on a page. There's different formats you can choose for this presentation if you want. And there is your recommended price range. Always nice because it's not you that's recommending it, it's a piece of paper. Services we provide, curb appeal, 20 tips for selling your home, my resume, and in conclusion. So that's our presentation. Now keep in mind you can do buyer presentations that map out the properties with little places for them to write notes. There's a lot of different things that you can do within Toolkit. Very inexpensive program and definitely worth the $8 a month. So appreciate it. Have a great day and go sell a home.